How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Tressa's Collectibles channel. I'm Randall, aka Shizukats, and today we're going to be hopping into the world of Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage. So this is a new Hatsune Miku IP. It is a phone rhythm game that came out, I think, in 2020, and it is a game that I myself have partaken in playing. It originally came out as Hatsune Miku Project Sekai Colorful Stage in the Japanese version, but for the English port, the name has been changed to Colorful Stage. And so for our videos, we will either be referring to it as such, or if we say Pro Seka, which is like the shorthand for the Japanese version, that might slip out every now and then. Just know that we're referring to this title. So Colorful Stage is unique compared to the other existing Project Diva titles in Weiss Schwarz, which are the Project Diva F sets, in that it is not actually Neo-standard with those sets. It is completely standalone, and it is designed in such a way that you can play it completely standalone without needing to have any other cards. The way the Project Sekai or Colorful Stage IP is designed is we have our Vocaloid characters that you all know and love, like Hatsune Miku, Rin and Len, and all the other like main Vocaloids, but we also have these human characters. And so these human characters are in 5 different groups, each which represent like a different sector of music. So those 5 groups being Leonid, which is more of a like band rock style group, More Jump, which is idols, Vivid Bad Squad, which is more of like a street rap sort of style, Wonderlands Showtime, which is a like show tunes, like musical style. And then we have Nigo, or God, I don't know what is their English name called. Nightcord at 25 o'clock, commonly known by their shorthand Nigo, which is 25. And this is more of a like doujin music group, so kind of like the online scene, like what you would see out of like the kind of music that ends up becoming Vocaloid songs. Those ones that are made by like online producers with like in-house made music videos and things like that. So yeah, different groups, and each of these groups has their own set of characters and a unique style and unique like overall theme. And this has been a pretty popular IP, even to those that are not familiar with the actual Vocaloid characters like Miku. And now we are going to have it here in Weiss Schwarz. So as long as we're here, we can talk about the case topper playmat real quick. This is a stitched edge playmat that comes 1 per sealed case of booster boxes. And it features 1 member of each of our groups. So we have the virtual singer and then the 5 groups mentioned earlier. Speaking of those 5 groups, each of them does have their own trial deck. They're not in order here exactly, but here we go. Each one of those groups does have their own trial deck that you can open and try to get some of their cool, shiny OFR or even SSP cards. And a lot of the cards in the trial deck actually overlap, being the exact same profile, so we won't spend too much time going over the trial decks. We will mainly be looking at like the more unique cards that might see play in a more optimized build. And alongside our trial decks, we're going to be looking at 2 booster boxes, which is, you know, what we normally look at here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. Now, as far as the ratios for the trial decks, you should be expecting to get 1 OFR or higher per display of 6 sealed trial decks. And then there is also an SSP rarity, which would be the level 1 Miku combos. I didn't actually see any information about the JP ratios. Considering that it is an SSP that comes in the trial deck, we are expecting that it will be rarer to get than a normal SP that comes in a trial deck, where normal SPs are 2 per sealed case of 48 trial decks. SSP, we would expect to be 1 per sealed case, but not 100% sure on that. If you guys have any info, feel free to let us know down in the comment section below. But as for the OFRs, you should be expecting to get 1 per sealed display of 6 trial decks. And each of the trial decks has 5 possible OFRs that you can pull, except for the Vivid Bad Squad trial deck, which has 6 possible OFRs. So let's go ahead and just get right into our trial decks, starting with my personal favorite group. And we're just going to be going in order of the playmat, but my personal favorite group is Leonid. And so my favorite character is the cover character Ichika. For those of you who know my taste in other characters, like my namesake Shizuka from Idolmaster Million Live, Ichika being my favorite should honestly come as no surprise. Okay, as with every trial deck, these are going to come with the usual fare for like the new players. You have the quick guide that can tell you the rules of the game if you're unfamiliar, and we're also going to have the paper playmat if you don't have one of the nice rubber playmats. And on the back, it gives you some tips on how to play the deck and maybe some substitutions that you can add in if you get more cards from maybe another trial deck or some cards from the booster set. All right, so before we get into the actual meat of the trial deck, let's go ahead and quickly talk about the overall structure of each trial deck. So each trial deck is going to have one card per human member. So we'll go ahead and just take a look at those real quick without actually talking about what they are yet. And you're going to have 2 guaranteed SR foils and 1. Actually, is it? No, I don't think it is guaranteed a foil in the back, unlike the newer trial decks, because this is one of the older sets. I believe this first set came out around like 2021 or 2022 in Japanese. So specifications will be a bit different between this and a lot of the other sets that are coming out right now. But every trial deck is going to have the 4 human members, which in this case are going to be Ichika, Saki, Shiho, and Honami. Each of them will have 1 profile apiece. And then the rest of the cards in the trial deck are all going to be virtual singer cards. And a lot of them are going to overlap between all of the trial decks. So we have the Rin that bonds to the level 1 Len. We have this Luca Draw Brainstorm, which also has Act, Pay 1, Draw 1, Ditch 1. Funnily enough, this was actually a profile that was in the original Project Diva set, but instead of being a Draw Brainstorm 5, it was a Draw Brainstorm 4, and so I thought it was pretty funny when they revealed this to be in Project Sekai, as it's just a straight upgrade. We're also going to have the 2-1 Kaitos. Here are our Stock Soul. These are empty Stock Soul Climaxes. We have the level 0 Mako. It's just a 4K level 0 beater. And then the rest of the cards from the trial deck are actually going to be unique to each trial deck. So these are all the ones that are going to be the same in every trial deck. The level 1 Miku combo, it is technically the exact same combo across all the trial decks, but the climax that it combos with are going to be different. So in the Leonid and Nigo trial decks, it's going to climax combo with a book climax. And it's on attack gain 2k, and then on reverse top check up to 4 add a character, and then give another character 2,000 power. So that along with the counters, even though they look the same across all of the trial decks, just having the like vanilla Miku art, they are actually different counters. So this one is going to be a 2,500 backup. And then we have the level 3 Luca. This is an on-play heal, and on-play, if you have a full board, you can also refund 1 stock from your waiting room. We have the level 1 event, which is a vanilla cigarettes event, mill 2, add up the levels and salvage. And then now we can talk about our human characters. So first up we have my favorite, Ichika. So she is an on-play free summon from hand, and then give herself 2k until end of turn. And then also during either player's turn, when she reverses a battle opponent, you can pay 3, ditch 1, and deal 2 damage to your opponent, and then scry. This is the exact same card as the 3-2 Choco from the Hololive Summer Premium, I believe. I know it's a 3-2 Choco, I just don't exactly remember which set it's from Hololive though. So if you guys are familiar with Hololive, you will be familiar with this card. The fact that she free summons basically discounts the price of her burn effect by 2 stock, if you depend on like your way of thinking. So you can kind of think of this as a pay 1, ditch 1 on reverse to burn 2 and scry. So pretty solid off finisher card. We have the Saki, which is a free runner and also gains 1,000 during your turn. Pretty solid level 0 early game profile. We have Shiho, which is a 3k drop search. She cannot side. And then we have the Honami, which is a level assist, and you can pump power when you trigger a card with a soul trigger icon. So the Leonid deck is a 4-color deck. As you can see here with the 4 colors, we have Ichika on blue, Saki on yellow, Shiho on green, and Honami on red. And so this is a theme that we will be coming back to once we get into the actual booster set. The actual trial deck, you can basically just play it as a red and blue deck and just have Saki and Shiho in your level 0 line. But that is going to be it for our first trial deck. And seeing as we're going to need to do cleanup after each one of those, we will have a few breaks in the video, but we'll just be right back with our next trial deck, which is going to be More Jump. Okay, next, moving on to More Jump. So this is the Idol themed group. And every group does have their own story that takes place throughout like all of the events within the mobile game. For Leonid, their story is they're like a group of childhood friends that kind of drifted apart but eventually come back together to form this band Leonid. For More Jump, their story is you have 3 very experienced idols in Haruka, Shizuku, and Airi. And then you have our cover character Minori, who is the newbie. She is like the ascended fangirl trope where she really admires these other idols, and in More Jump she gets to be in an idol group beside some of the people that she has aspired to become, including Haruka, one of the other members, who she has a lot of fangirl moments with despite being in the same group as her. So here we have our level 3 Minori. She is a cross-turn clock kick and on-play salvage. Here we have our SR Stock Soul Climax. And then now we just get into the repeat stuff. Here's one of our unique profiles, the level 0 Rin. On attack, she can give 2k to another character, and then she can back row run by paying 1. We have our Mako attacker. We have the Airi Climax Swapper. So this is the only Climax Swapper that's available in set 1. So this is definitely a card that you're going to want to be picking up for your collection, and is to this day one of the more expensive cards from the trial decks in Japanese as well, because even in set 2, we don't have set 2 of Colorful Stage yet in English announced, but in set 2, both of the Climax Swappers from that set or both of the level 0 Climax Swappers, they stack a character instead of paying 1 stock. So if you want a Climax Swapper that pays 1 stock on a level 0, you will have to keep coming back to this level 0 Airi. Here we have the Miku combo, which in this trial deck is going to combo with a gold bar. And then we have the 1-0 vanilla. The 2-1 counter, so in the last one it was a 1-1-2-5. In this one it is a 2500 backup that gives an additional 1k when you use it, so it's a 3500 backup. And we're going to be seeing even more different backups as we continue on with the other trial decks. The level 2 Shizuku is a level assist, and on play you can discard 1 to salvage 1. Here we have the Kaito. And level 3 Haruka is a card that does see quite a bit of play in set 1 builds, because set 1 doesn't have the greatest climax combo finishers, and so sometimes you will see decks speccing into the off-climax finisher lines with cards like the 3-2 Ichika that we just saw in the Leonid deck, and the Haruka level 3 from this trial deck. So this is an on-play, heal 1, gain 15, and then on attack you can pay 1, ditch 1 to look at up to 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck and send any of them to the waiting room that you want. So if you see any climaxes, you just put them in your waiting room, and it kind of treats this card as like a pseudo-burn effect. So this is a pretty nice card. Our event is a counter. You can draw 1, discard 1, and then choose one of your characters and give it free encore until the end of the turn. And then after that, we're just going to have all of our climaxes, the other 3 stock souls, and our 4 gold bars. And then one of each of the cards that could potentially come SSP or OFR, which are going to be these ones. So no high rarity card here either, but we have 3 more chances. So let's go ahead and get right into the next trial deck, which is going to be Vivid Bad Squad. And Vivid Bad Squad is one of my favorite groups. I really like the character interactions between the 4 members. So in this group, unlike this group as well as Wonderlands Showtime, unlike a lot of other like rhythm-based games that are in Bushiroad IPs like Love Live and Bang Dream, this IP does actually have guys in it. And so when the series first got announced to like have guys, I wasn't really super excited about just like them not being girls, and just like usually I'm used to like having a full cast of girls, but to my surprise, the interactions with these guy characters has definitely added a lot to the experience, in my opinion. And so I've really come around to liking these characters, especially the two guys in Vivid Bad. They're pretty funny dudes, and they have some pretty spicy interactions with especially between like Akito and An, which are we'll get to in a sec. So for our Vivid Bad Squad, one thing that I didn't mention already, but so the Leonid deck is a 4-color deck, and then all of the other 4 groups are going to be monocolor. So More Jump is only green, Vivid Bad is only red, Wonderlands Showtime is only yellow, and Nigo is only blue. And so that is just letting you guys know that is how the color pie is split amongst the groups in this set. So Vivid Bad Squad in set 1, they're basically only going to have standby climaxes, and then the other 3 groups are only going to have climaxes from their own color as well. So with Vivid Bad Squad being a standby deck, we have the cover card being the 1/1 Kohane, which is a 7/5 hand encore. Our Stocksoul. More similar cards. We have the Len level 0, which is a front 500, and you can pay 1, sack him to top check for add 1. Very solid back row option. And then we have the level 0 Toya, which is a really good card. It's the Choco drop salvage from Hololive, where you can on play pay 1, ditch 1, drop salvage, and give 1k to another character, and also on play optional mill 3. So this is a very popular card especially in the 8 standby deck. 8 standby really wants to run those cards that can give a lot of free mill and get those standby targets into the waiting room, while also having that hand fix ability to get standby targets out of your hand and fix into something more useful. Here's the level 1 Miku combo for the Vivid Bad Squad deck. This is my personal favorite design out of all of the different Mikus, as each Miku for each of the different groups has a completely different design. Here we have the Vanilla Lens. The 2/1 backup for Vivid Bad Squad is a Memory Kick 3k backup, so this one definitely seeing a lot of play, and I would say is the most sought after out of the Miku counters that come out of these trial decks. Then we have the 2/2 Mako. This is a pretty... Oh no, this is not the 2/2. The 2/2 comes from the booster set. So this is a 2/1 Mako, and she says global 1k, and then you can pay 1, rest 2 of your characters to do a cigarettes effect, so mill 2, add up level salvage. Pretty solid card, and overall just can be pretty helpful to bring out at level 1 in a standby deck. Unfortunately, this trial deck doesn't actually have any standbys, so if you are looking for a cheap upgrade to your Vivid Bad Squad trial deck, consider adding standbys to the deck to allow you to make the best use out of cards like the Kohane level 1 and the Mako level 2. We have more Kaitos. We have our level 3 An, which is on play heal, and then if you have 2 or more other music characters, she is 11k, and on reverse of a battle opponent, you can top check to rearrange. Again, another profile that would be really, really useful if you could bring it out at level 2 via a standby, as you could really aggress high power on the board, and then as you're reversing your opponent's characters both on your turn and your opponent's board on your opponent's turn, you can get that top check to rearrange. And then we have the Akito, which is while he's in the front row, all of your characters gain 1500, including himself, and on attacking, pay 2, ditch 1 to burn 1. So another really good standby card. Bring this out at level 2 and give 1500 power to your whole board. And it does not look like we have a foil in this one either, but as you can see in the Vivid Bad Squad deck, there are 6 possible OFRs as opposed to the usual 5, and then the possible SSP, the level 1 Miku. And then we have our climaxes with the Vivid Bad Squad door climax. Okay, up next we have the Wonderlands Showtime trial deck. So this is going to be the mono yellow deck, and it uses 8 choice across both Colorful Stage Set 1 and Set 2, even though, we don't have Set 2 announced for English at the time of this recording, but they are 8 choice across both of the sets. Our cover card here is Tsukasa. So Tsukasa is actually Saki's brother, Saki being the blonde twin-tail girl that we saw in the Leonid trial deck. And there are Proseka colorful stage. So another sibling pairing is Shiho from Leonid and Shizuku from More More Jump, as well as Akito from Vivid Bad Squad and Anna, who is Mike's favorite character, from Nigo. And so let's just get right into the Wonderlands trial deck. So we have Tsukasa, which is a level 0 stock bomb that has a pay 1 pseudo encore effect. Pretty solid card. We have our Rins, we have our Lukas, we have more copies of Tsukasa, and we have Rui, which is at the start of your climax phase, you can give a character 1k, and then on play, you can rest 2 characters to give one of your characters on reverse blind stock. So unfortunate that he can't use that blind stock ability for multiple turns because it's just on play, but still a pretty solid card that I definitely could see play in, seeing play in like a deck here and there. Here's our level 1 Miku. Her design for Wonderlands Showtime is more of like a clown kind of design. And I wasn't a really big fan of this design when it first came out, but some of the later cards that she got in the mobile game I think look quite nice. So I've kind of come around to this design. For our counter, we have a refund backup. So definitely a very nice card to run in choice decks. It basically allows you to salvage it off of the choice climaxes because it has a soul trigger, but it can still act as like a 1/0/2k backup because you will pay 1 stock and then you will refund it with the top card of your deck. For our level assist, we have the 2/1 Kaito, and his on-play effect is pay 1, ditch 1, search your deck for up to 1 copy of the 3/3 event and add it to your hand, and then give a character 2k until end of turn. Okay, we have our 2/1 Kaitos. 3/2 Emu. She is, like, if you guys are into Bang Dream, she is the Kokoro of this set, or of this entire, like, franchise. Like, she is, like, extremely loud and always hyper, and as far as the stories in this franchise go, compared to, like, other franchises like Bang Dream, I would definitely say that, like, Project Sekai definitely has its more like mature moments, and I definitely think that some of these stories involving like Emu definitely go into that a bit. Honestly, with a lot of characters, like especially with Nigo. Nigo definitely has some very mature themes, things like parental abuse or like parental abandonment and things like that. So just caution for those of you who might want to get into the colorful stage Proseka world. There are a bit more mature themes. And here we have my favorite character from Wonderlands Showtime, Nene. So she's more of like a quiet girl, but she is also just like grouped with just like, you know that meme where it's just like, I'm surrounded by idiots. That is literally like Nene in this group. Like, she has like Tsukasa, who is just like flamboyant and he's always loud. You have Emu, who's always excited and super loud. And you have Rui, who's like her childhood friend, who's like, he is like a genius, but also he just like kind of gets on her nerves a lot of the time. And so I really like her dynamic that she has with the other members of her group. Her card is on play. You can draw 1, ditch 1, and give a character anti-backup until end of turn. And then on play, if you play her into a full board, you get to refund 1 stock from waiting room. So pretty solid card if you are afraid of high impact counters. The 3/3 event from the trial deck is give one of your characters 1500 power, or sorry, not 1500 power. I was thinking of a different event. Choose one of your characters and it gains on reverse burn 3, and then give one of your characters 1k and 1 soul until end of turn. This one actually sees a lot of play in the set 2 builds, particularly the set 2 builds before it got restricted, because it is restricted in Japanese. So definitely a card that you might want to look out to pick up and hold if set 2 ever gets announced. So we have our other 3 stock souls. Our level 1 combo in this particular trial deck combos with a choice. And then we have no high rarity, unfortunate. So with that, we'll just get right into our last trial deck, the Nigo trial deck. Okay, for our final trial deck, we have, well, their English name is Nightcord at 25 o'clock. So for those of you who don't know, when you go by like 24-hour clock, so it normally goes up to like 2400 hours, or like 2300 hours would be would be like 11 o'clock p.m., right? But in Japan, they sometimes go past 24 hours. And so that is the case with this group. Their name being like 25 o'clock. And they're basically like an online doujin content creation group that like they meet online at 1 o'clock a.m. And so that's where their name comes from. And so for this group, we have Kanade, Mafuyu, Mizuki, and Ena. And this is definitely one of the more popular groups. A lot of their stuff, like both in and out of Weiss Schwarz, tends to be like extremely popular. They have like a more dark, like depressing theme, as you will see with their Miku design. For our cover card, we have Kanade. She is a Fukajiro, so on death you can ditch one to top check 4, add a level 1 or higher card from among them to your hand, send the rest to waiting room. But she also has another on death effect that lets you look at the top card of your deck and either leave it on top or bottom. And so between these two effects, you can actually kind of treat her as a 5-card Fukajiro. On death, you can order the effects whatever way you want. So you look at the top card first, and then if you don't like what you see, you can put it on the bottom, and then you can try with the next 4 cards that come after it with the Fukajiro effect. So very, very strong card. And between all of the trial decks, in at least in the Japanese version of this set, this has consistently been one of the most expensive cards out of the trial decks, and I think it's only a 2 of in the trial deck as well, which would contribute to its price. Okay, for our usual stuff, we have those two. We have the level 0 Mizuki. Mizuki being a character that there is like also some like LGBTQ inclusivity within the Pro Sekai universe, mainly through the character Mizuki. So Mizuki is a character where since the very beginning, their gender has just been marked as unknown, and a lot of their character stories really just go into like the complexities behind that. So if that is something that you're into, you might want to look into this particular character, Mizuki. So as far as their card though, they have when your character trigger checks a climax, you can give a character 2k power, and then also when this card, when your other character is sent from stage to waiting room, and this is in your back row, you can pay 1 and sack this to bring back that other character and give it an additional 3k power until the end of the next turn. And so pretty unique card. Usually you see this profile not costing any stock, but also not giving any power. So if you do want that extra pump, this could be a pretty good card to include in your list. Okay. Also, one other thing that I think is pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure at this point in time, the wording for when your character's like trigger check reveals a climax, I'm pretty sure this is the old wording, and now the new wording is when you trigger a climax, or when a climax is triggered. I think that's the new wording, and so I think they actually went back to the old wording for this card. Here is the level 1 Miku for the Nigo group. So as you can see, she's a lot more gray. She's a lot more like quiet looking, and so that kind of reflects this particular world of Colorful Stage. And so kind of like a thing within Colorful Stage is that each of these groups, they go into what is called a Sekai, where they can kind of like interact with the various Vocaloid characters of like their versions of the Vocaloid characters. And so in this particular Sekai, we have the Miku where she's like very quiet, and so they interact with her in this way in their own Sekai. We have a level 1 on death pay 2 salvage, and then on attack, or when your other character attacks, she gains power. Another Miku. For our counter in this trial deck, it is a Scry backup. So when you use the backup, you can top check, and then you can put it on top or leave it, or you can either leave it on top or put it on the bottom of your deck. Then we have our Kaitos. We have 3-2 Mafuyu. This is an on-play search your deck for a character. And then also, she is an assist 2k power. And then we have Ena, who is on-play heal. And then on attack, you can pay 1, ditch 1 to gain 2k power and on reverse burn 1 until end of turn. So another off finisher option that you could potentially run with cards like the 3-2 Ichika and the 3-2 Haruka. Oh, we get 4 copies of this? Wow, okay. And then our trial deck event is search 2, discard 1. And then we have our 3 stock souls and 4 more copies of the book Climax. It's unfortunate that's not a pants in either this one or the Leonid deck, but you know, that's just how it is. And, oh, we actually did pull an OFR, it looks like, in this one. So, 1 victory out of 5. And it is going to be the 3-2 Mafuyu. It has a really nice, like, shatterfoil pattern that I don't know if you guys can see. But, yeah, really, really nice that we were able to get at least 1 OFR out of our 5 trial decks. And with that, let's just go ahead and clean up. We have a lot to go through still in the booster set. So let's get right into that. Okay guys, so we're going to get into the booster box, but before we begin, let's go ahead and go over the ratios. This is going to be a very unique set compared to all of the other booster boxes that we have seen recently in English Weiss Schwarz, because this is a set that's like 3 years old at this point. And so 3 years ago, we were not on the new box format, and we don't have the same ratios now as we did back then. And for that reason, this is going to be a very, very weird set. We are still going to be getting 3 or 4 double Rs per box, as we would expect from all of the recent sets in the 12-pack format, but we are going to be having quite a variation in the foils. It's going to be anywhere from 1 to 3 foils per box. So if you only get 1 foil per box, that can be quite unfortunate. Based on what we have observed from our relatively low sample size, if you do get a VR, which I'll explain what a VR is in a sec, it will be a 3 foil box compared to a 1 or 2 foil box. Now, in the Colorful Stage set, there are 2 high rarities that you are going to be chasing, and those are the VR rarity and the SSP rarity. The SSPs are basically what you would expect from, sign cards, whereas they are signature print cards. I believe for all of them, they are the voice actor / voice actress signature, and then for the Vocaloids, they are from the voice actor / voice actress that supplied the voice. So, like, for example, for Miku, it would be Saki Fujita. And that is the case for the trial decks as well. All of the Miku SSPs from the trial decks are their signature print is from Saki Fujita. Now, VR is a very unique rarity, and this is the first and only time so far that we have ever seen this in Weiss Schwarz. And so VR, I am going to be completely honest, I don't remember exactly what it stands for. I think it's visual rare, and these are basically textless versions of cards that are in the set that, would normally have text on them. And so there is actually a special rule if you want to run these VR cards. You must have a non-VR version, so like a version with text, in your deck box with you when you play the deck. And at the start of the game, you must show them to your opponent and explain to them, I am playing VRs in my deck, and these are the normal versions of the card, so that they know what's going on. You can't just roll up with VRs and not have the normal version on you. So as for the ratios, the expected ratios, they're actually not very high, unfortunately. The VRs, you should expect to get 2 per sealed case of booster boxes, with the SSPs being only 1 per sealed case of booster boxes, and there are no SPs in the set. The VRs are basically like taking the place of the SPs. So not too great, but that's going to make it all the better when we hit one in our box opening right now, guys. So let's get right into our first box of Colorful Stage. All right, now, as for the going first and second cards in this set, because another side effect of this being an old set, you are not getting a going first, going second card in every booster box like you would on the newer sets. Instead, you are getting a box topper frameless version of one of the 5 trial deck climaxes, one of the ones that goes with the level 1 Miku. The going first, going second cards are going to be randomly inserted into one of the boxes in the case, just like good old times. So hopefully you guys can be lucky enough to hit that in your case. But for now, let's get into our first box. Okay, so looking at the Leonid cards, we have the Saki level 0. Earlier I explained how it is a 4-color deck, and that is the case with the cards from the booster set as well. Unlike the trial deck, though, you are actually going to be seeing yellow and green cards at higher levels as well. And so this Saki level 0 is going to be helping you out a lot in playing that deck if you want to play a mono Leonid deck. So she is a tap cell salvage brainstorm for Leonid, and then your other Leonid character in front row center slot gets 500, but also all of your Leonid characters and any climaxes can be played without needing color. And this includes climaxes that like aren't even Leonid related if you want to build like a mixed deck that happens to have a non-Leonid climax combo in it. So very, very nice card that helps out the Leonid deck to really play that 4-color strategy without having to run into color issues. You will still need color for events though. So if you want to play events in your deck, you will need to get color for those. And one other really cool thing about this card is that if set 2 ever gets announced, there will be a box topper promo that allows you to search this card from your deck just without having to pay any like stock or anything. It just lets you pull it out of your deck with a single discard. Really, really cool. So here we have the level 0 Mizuki, of course, designed to be played in an 8-pants Nigo deck. So global 500, and then also an ability that should be fairly familiar to those of you who are old Sword Art Online players. It's kind of reminiscent of the Spriggan Kirito effect. So when you trigger a Pants Climax and you have 2 or more other Nigo characters, you can discard a card to salvage any Nigo character from your waiting room, and you can give one of your characters 1 level and 500 power until end of turn. So very, very powerful card. Not only allows you to get a Climax back and still keep it in your hand for the next turn, because you don't have to discard the Climax that you trigger, but also giving you that +1 level and +500 could be pretty useful in certain situations, especially considering Nigo does have a level 3 or higher assist. Here we have Akito. We're going to go ahead and hold this on the side for later. We have Saki level 2 combo. For our first rare, we have the 2/1 Miku. This is a global 1K, and when you trigger a choice climax, you can pay 1 to discard a card. Okay. Oh, dropping some cards here. Dropping some stuff. Okay, let's see. We have the level 1 Honami. So this card is a global 1K during your turn, and then when she's placed on stage from your hand or from waiting room, you can marker a character from your waiting, or you can marker any card, I guess, from your waiting room, and then this gains the color of that card that you markered underneath her. So that's very important for certain Leonid cards that require you to have multiple colors on stage. For our first double R, we have the level 0 Miku Brainstorm. So this is a tap self-salvage brainstorm, basically like the main tap self-salvage brainstorm of the set, if that's what you're looking for. And then when your character reverses their battle opponent, you can give one of your characters 500 power. All right, here we have one of the best, if not like the best uncommon of the set, which is the level 0 Airi. She is a gold bar combo when you play the climax. If you have 2 or more other music characters, you can top check 4 and add a character from among them to your hand and send the rest to waiting room. And she is also a brainstorm spammable. For each climax you hit, you search your deck for a music character, add it to your hand, and discard a card. So very, very strong card, one that you want to be playing in multiples and like have them camped in your back row and play gold bar turn after turn and continue getting advantage and milling through your deck. So really, really strong card. And for our rare, we have a Honami anti-change backup. And here we have the gold bar climax for the Airi. So in this set, similar to like pretty much all of the sets that we have seen recently, ever since they took out climax rarities. So recently we have seen sets only have 1 rarity of climax, and this set is also the case. So it might be a little bit hard to hunt down specific climaxes that you want to grab, just because there are so many. Every single human character in the set has their own climax combo. And then also there is the level 3 Miku. So there should be 21 climaxes in the set in total, if I'm not mistaken. Level 0 on combo, unfortunately, not a very good card. Level 0 Haruka. This is a pay 1, send to memory to look at top 4, add a more jump character. More jump's main theme being memory and recollection. We have the level 1 Emu. So this is a card that on play you can discard a music character to salvage 1 of 2 events. That is the main central theme of Wonderlands Showtime, is they want to play a lot of events. So you will see if set 2 ever gets announced, the really popular set 2 build runs like 14 event cards. Kind of crazy. Now there's a common. The main theme of Vivid Bad Squad is Bond. And so you will see multiple Bond pairs throughout the set, one of them being this level 0 on. She is a brainstorm that bonds to a level 0 Kohane. And they're a combination of cards that I personally like playing in one specific deck type. Level 2 Enna, she is a on reverse bottom deck anti-change bomb, and she has hand on court, but really funny, she has 2 soul. Level 3 Shiho, she is a on reverse, kind of like an Icy Tail-esque combo, but instead of burning your opponent based on the number of climaxes in the bottom, you actually get to send those climaxes to the opponent's clock directly. So pretty cool card. Mizuki's Climax combo. This is what? Just a bounce back combo, I believe? Yeah. Level 1 Rin. Pretty useful Climax filter card. 2/2 Mako sees used in the standby decks. And we have Akito's Standby Climax. Ooh. All right, cool. We have the 2/1, or not 2/1. I was reading the 2/1 off this. We have the level 0 Nene. This is definitely the best double R that you could pull from the first set. And so Nene is an on-play Riki effect. So on-play pay 1, clock any music character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock, and search your deck for a level 1 or lower character. An amazing card for not only setting you up for whatever card you might need for your early game, whether it be your like Climax combo or a Brainstorm or something, but because she clocks from the waiting room, this also allows you to potentially set up colors for decks that want to play multiple colors, and also can boost you to level 1 if you want to like start using your level 1 combo. For our rare, we have the 1/0 Miku. So this is an on-play Ditch Climax Salvage, and then also she has our favorite effect on the channel. During this card's battle, when damage received is canceled, you can return this card back to your hand. We love on-cancel bounce back, especially when it lets you reuse an on-play ability. Also, this card, being a Leonid card, it does have this nice extra effect. This can be played from your hand without fulfilling color requirements. So if you want to play this outside of a Leonid deck, and that deck doesn't ordinarily run blue, it's not a problem. You can just play this card anyway without needing the color. Okay, this is common, uncommon. We have our 3/2 on. This card is, in my opinion, the most unrealized potential in all of Project Sekai, or in all of Colorful Stage, sorry. So the on level 3 is a 2k assist. On play, you can discard 1 heal to stock, and then her act ability is, in my opinion, the reason why she is the most unrealized potential. So this card says you can rest this, choose one of your other characters on stage that has Bond, and then this card gains the act ability. The chosen card gains the act ability. You can sack it from stage to grab the character specified by its Bond effect from your waiting room and add it to your hand. And so unfortunately, the Bond combinations in this set are not very good outside of exactly the level 1 Akito and Toya combination, and they didn't print any new ones in set 2 at all, I think. So yeah, honestly, just a card that I feel like they could have really gone the extra mile with printing some new Bond combinations, especially at like higher level. They could have printed some like level 2 or level 3 characters that could have been really high impact in the late game. But unfortunately, they didn't. So, unfortunate card there. Level 0 Tsukasa. On attack, give one of your other characters 1500 and hand on core until the end of the opponent's next turn. This has historically been a pretty strong profile to have in like standby decks. And so, if you want to play a standby deck, this might be a card that you might want to include in your deck. Ooh, our next double R is Mizuki. This is another really, really powerful double R. I would say between all of the double Rs in set 1, I would say that the Nene and the Mizuki are the 2 best double Rs in terms of their overall usefulness and flexibility to be used in multiple decks. So what Mizuki's level 3 does is, if you have 4 or more music characters on stage, they get -1 level in hand, and then if you have 2 or more other music characters, which, you know, you should because you early played this, this gets plus 2500 power and hand on core. So Mizuki is a 10-5 hand on core, and we're not even done yet. On play, you can look it up to X cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, put it into your hand, and send the rest to waiting room, where X is the number of characters on stage, where if you're early playing this, it's going to be 5. So really, really strong card. It's very similar to the Itsuki early play from Quintessential Quintuplets set 1, I believe, but with that extra upside of the hand on core. So really, really strong card, and Mizuki definitely one of the top double Rs of the set, in my opinion. Let's see. Here is a 2-1 level assist, or not a level assist, a 2k to level 3s in front assist for Nigo. She also has the effect on play. You can top check 2 on climax placement. You can top check 2 rearrange, and then she has her own climax combo that allows you to free fresh. One of the events for Wonder Show, you get to look at top 4, add either a music character or an event. You have Emu's combo, which allows you to summon additional attackers from your waiting room. Ooh, here we have the 2-1 Rin. So this is one of the best. This is one of the best supports within the set for sure. Her, apart from being a level assist, her other effect is you can rest her to choose one of your other characters and put it into stock. This is a really strong combination with cards like the Mizuki early play, as it allows you to open up a lane to do another Mizuki early play within the same turn without having to play over something and go -1. It's also a really good card in combination with some of the standby cards that we will hopefully look at within the set. But yeah, just an overall really good card. And this is probably the most prime standby target to bring out at level 1. Ooh, here we have the level 1 Kohane, or level 0 Kohane that goes with the on. So the Kohane has the effect on play. You can bond to the on, and then when you play a climax, you can bounce her back to your hand in order to give a character 1 soul. And so there's actually a pretty funny combo that I like to do in my personal homebrews of Colorful Stage that hopefully we'll get to look at in this video. Kohane. This is a 1/0 1500 counter that is also a JC. Very funny card. Ichika on attack buffer. Oh, okay, cool. So for our next rare, we have the level 0 Toya, or level 1 Toya that goes with the level 1 Akito. So these bond to each other by discarding a card. And they have a really interesting synergy between the two. So the Toya is just a he's just a climax combo with a standby. I don't know if we pulled it yet, but yeah, we have not. But he has a climax combo with a standby that says, when you play the climax, he gains 2500, and on reverse, top check 4, add a character, send the rest to waiting room, which is a pretty ordinary effect. But the level 1 Akito is what makes this card really, really special. So this card says, during the turn that you have played a level 1 Toya from your hand to stage, you can pay 1 and bounce this back to your hand at the start of your climax phase in order to salvage any character from your waiting room. And so this not only opens the slot for your standby climax to play a character to, but it also allows you to reuse this card on your next turn for both the bond effect to get back your Toya combo, as well as to bounce it back to your hand to use its effect again on the following turn. So it between these two cards, it allows you to generate tons of advantage, and it allows the 8 standby deck to play very aggressively with its cards at level 0. Uncharacteristically aggressive. And so, yeah, very, very strong package. And in combination with the Rin, there's actually some very interesting things you can do. So, like, let's say you have Rin in your back row, and you play an Akito to your back row, bond into a copy of the Toya. You play the Toya, and then let's say you play some other character, and you play a Mizuki early play, because you have 4 or more. What you can do is, you can rest the Rin, you can send the Toya to stock, play another Mizuki to the now open slot, and then you are still actually allowed to use Akito's effect. Even though the Toya that you played is not on the stage anymore, you did play a Toya from your hand during that turn, so you are still allowed to bounce this back to your hand, salvage 1, and then maybe you can like play a standby, put something new here. So really, really neat interactions, and is part of what, in my opinion, makes the standby version of Colorful Stage one of the most fun builds to play in the set. So we'll go ahead and put that up there. Yeah, definitely a very, very fun deck. And it has a pretty high skill ceiling, in my opinion. There are a lot of different interactions and a lot of choices that you can make throughout a single game of playing an 8 standby Colorful Stage deck. Okay, let's continue going. Oh, we did get 4 double Rs in this box. So we have the level 3 Kohane. So this is typically the other standby combo that you play in the deck with the Toya. So Kohane is a 3/2/9k, although she goes up to 10k if you meet her field requirement. She has Hand Encore, and then also her climax combo, on attack you can pay 1, ditch 1 to burn 3 and heal 1. So she doesn't have an on-play ability, but her climax combo is pretty strong compared to other climax combos in that it allows you to burn as well as heal, and that makes up for the fact that she doesn't have that on-play ability. Ideally, you want to be bringing her out with a standby as early as possible at level 2, and then start using her climax combo from then on, trying to dig for those climaxes with cards like the 3-2 Mizuki on-play Top Check X ability. Okay. This rare is a level 0 Miku that I personally don't think this profile is like playable like at all. Your opponent can pay 2 stock in order to make it so that this card cannot front attack this turn. I'm not a very big fan of that effect. For our rare, we have a 1-0 Luca. So this card says on play, gains 2k if you have another music character, and then during the turn she's played, if you reverse a battle opponent and you have all 4 colors on stage, you can pay 1, search 1. Normally this type of effect requires you to have pay 1, on reverse pay 1, and rest a character, instead of having that 4 color condition, but this one is a bit different. And we haven't hit a foil yet, so there is going to be our foil, this 1-0 Len. This card is not very good in my opinion. So this card says when you have a standby climax in play, this gains 1k, and on attack you can pay 1 twin drive. There are just like some other sets where like they can do twin drive stuff without needing a specific climax in play at all. They can just be like any climax, and so I like this card personally. I'm not a very big fan of. And yeah, where did I like misplace a rare somewhere or something? Because there are only 10 rares in front of me. Hello? Weird. And then like the last rare would be here, which is the 3-2 Haruka. This card is a top end for the more jump deck. She requires you to have 2 or more memory characters, and all of your characters in memory have to be more jump trait. And she allows you to do a Mocha 3. So you can look at top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, leave as many as you want, and send the rest to waiting room. Seriously, did I miss a rare somewhere? Or am I going crazy? Oh, sorry. This 3-2 Emu was a rare that I completely missed. This card is an early play. Okay, this is a really strange card. So this card says it's a 2 or more early play bouncer. And then when this attacks, if you have 3 or more cards in memory, you can pay 2 to deal 1 damage to your opponent. So within Wonderlands Showtime, I believe this was the only event that goes to memory. And so if you are trying to play mono Wonder Show, you have to get 3 copies of this into memory in order to resolve this effect. That being said, I believe this particular, like, this in-game event, I believe this was like a, it was like Emu with Haruka, so it was like mixed units event. And so for that reason, this Emu is designed to be like played with the more jump cards, where more jump has a lot of cards that go to memory. So yeah. But I mean, it's a bouncer. Bouncers are good if you don't want to deal with stuff like the anti-burn and like Shakugan no Shana or things like that, then the bouncer might be a card that you want to include in your deck. Okay, so that's going to be it for our first box. It was unfortunately a 1 foil only box, but we did get 4 double Rs, so that's pretty cool. We basically got the 8 standby deck starter pack, because all of these cards do see play in the 8 standby deck. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and clean up real quick, get right into our second box. Okay, box number 2, here we go, guys. Get in the trash bag. Okay. Let's see what our box topper is for our second box. We have the Vivid Bad Squad box topper. We'll go ahead and put that right there. Alright. Let's see what we can get out of this one. So, as far as the double Rs in this set go, there are 11 possible double Rs. So, out of a single case, you should be getting a little bit less than 2 play sets compared to a set that has 10 double Rs, where you would get usually around 2 playsets. As far as the double R spread, it is going to be 2 double Rs per each of the 5 groups, and then the 11th double R is going to be the 3-2 Miku climax combo. we'll, of course, be taking a look at the double Rs that we didn't pull at the end of the video. Here we have another 3-2 Mizuki early play. Our rare is going to be the Shizuku Clean Cut. So 3K Clean Cut as long as your opponent has 3 or less characters. Pretty good early game card. And also pretty good green splash if that's what you're looking for. Another 2-1 Rin. Oh, sorry, that's the rare. Our rare for... It didn't look like a rare. There's not much foiling on this one. 2-1 Kaito. When this card attacks, if it attacks into a level 3 or higher, this gets 6k power and plus 2 soul until end of turn. Normally this effect only gives 1 soul, but this card has 7k base power instead of, I believe, 7500 base power is the normal one for if it only gains 1 soul. Okay, for our double rare, we have the level 0 Akito. This is a 3k runaway runner as long as you have another character on stage. Okay. For rare, we have Enna. Level 1 combo. This is a on reverse, ditch one music character to search 2. Really interesting that this combo requires you to ditch a music character, whereas other similar combos like the Yukina from Bang Dream Anniversary, they allow you to ditch any character, but yeah. And then, as I was saying earlier, there are more sibling pairings, so Akito and Enna are another sibling pair. You can't really tell by just looking at them, though, which is pretty funny. They do look very different, but their interactions are very much like bickering siblings. The other sibling pair that I mentioned earlier, which is Saki and... Let me see if I have their cards. Do I have... maybe in the old stuff? Let me see. So like the other sibling pairing of Tsukasa and Saki. So these two have a much more nice dynamic between the two. Like Saki, growing up, she's been like constantly like in the hospital, and Tsukasa has like gone out of his way to like make sure that she's okay and like he takes care of her. And then Akito and Enna, they have like a sibling dynamic of like, can you like shut up? Can you get out of my room? And like things like that. And so very different dynamics. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I've been hoping that we pull a level 1 Ichika so I can show you guys how this card can even be summoned from the waiting room, but we haven't pulled it yet. Getting into the back half of the box, we have another repeat double R, the 3-2 Kohane. Her dynamic with her group mates is like she was like kind of like the shy, like really shy, like kind of bookwormy character. She originally has like just like low twin tail and glasses, and she a lot of people, and like I think even like in game is like they attribute her to like a small little hamster that you just want to like protect. And so like that's kind of her dynamic with her group mate On, if I can find one. So you can see On is like a lot more flamboyant and like outgoing compared to Kohane, and so they do have like a nice like yin and yang sort of thing going on within the group. Okay, 3-2 On for a rare. Okay, this card, this is a card that like I remember when Project Sekai and JP first came out. Myself and June, those of you who guys know June from JK TCG, we had pretty differing opinions of this card. So this card says you can pay 1, send this to memory to look at up to top 3 cards on top of your deck, and choose a level 1 or lower character from among them and add it to your hand. Send the rest to waiting room. And at the beginning of your climax phase, you can pay 2 to, if this is in your memory, you can pay 2 to climax swap a climax in your hand with one in your waiting room that has the exact same trigger icon. So like you could trade like a standby for another standby, or a pants for another pants, things like that. The problem that I had with this card is that if you pay 1 and you send this card to memory and then you whiff the level 1 or lower within 3 cards, it just like feels so bad. Like you lost a card and you lost a stock, and it's like, I just feel like that's just not worth for the potential payoff of like getting the memory for the, or getting the climax swap. So that's just like my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of this effect. Obviously, it can only go into decks that are running like multiple climaxes of the same trigger, but like let me know what you think of like the like opportunity cost of like maybe changing your deck ratios or things like that. And yeah, as far as like the art, like Mafuyu is definitely like one of the cards, or one of the characters in Project Sekai that is like, she's going through it. Like she's got some definite like parental issues going on. Okay, and we got another $4 box. We have the 3/2 Kanade. So this is an on-play heal. And then if you have two or more music characters in memory, she becomes 10k. So another group where there's not actually a lot of cards that go to memory. Like I think the only one natively to this group is the level 0 Mafuyu. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you might want to run this card, if you want to run this finisher, you might want to run it with cards from One More Jump, such as the level 0, I think it's an Irie, RR, which goes to memory to search your deck for a character. And then she is a restander. On attack, you can pay 1, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a music character, you stand this card. So unfortunately, that does mean that if she is swinging into something that's bigger than her, she will stand, and then she will immediately get reversed, so you don't get that second attack. So you do want to make sure that she is able to beat the character that she's going up against by like fulfilling that 2 memory condition, or having like a big assist behind her like the 2/1 Mafuyu. Now what's really interesting about this card is that she has 3 base soul. So if you want to, you can side attack with her and then still do a decent amount of damage, especially into lower level opposing characters. You can also use the top check 2 rearrange from the Mafuyu assist to see if she's going to trigger a soul trigger to make her go to like 5 or something. So you can like side for 2 or side for 3, things like that. And then also allows you to guarantee that the restand will go off. Okay. Just a couple packs left to go. Also, this would be a really, really awkward card to restand into an open lane with, because you're going to be directing for 5 and then 6, assuming you don't even trigger any soul triggers. So you probably want to be fronting into stuff with this. All right, and then for our last pack, the foil has been the last pack both times. Very interesting. And we have a 2/1 Nene. So this is actually one of the cards that sees a lot of play in one of the really popular versions when Pro Seka first came out in Japan, which is Gold Bar Choice. So that deck likes to run the level 0 Irie combo alongside the level 2 Nene, and then you go into non-climax finishers such as the 2/1 Ichika from the trial deck and the 2/1 Haruka from the trial deck. And so this is an advantage combo that says when you play her choice climax, you get to salvage a character, and then this gains the effect when damage dealt by this is canceled. This gets 4k until the end of the opponent's next turn. And her first effect says if you have 2 or more other characters, she gets plus 5k and plus 1 soul, allowing her to attack for 11k 3 soul with her climax. And then if you cancel, she's going to go up to 14,000 during your opponent's turn, allowing her to live again, potentially go for another turn of combo. And then also by holding onto the board, you get to potentially use like an anti-damage counter. You can't tell because this version doesn't have any text on it, but this is a anti-damage counter that requires you to have a full board. So if you're running a deck like the Gold Bar Choice deck with cards like the Nene, you have a really easy time holding onto the board and making sure that you have all 5 characters so that you can use that anti-damage counter. So nice SR to pull here. And again, one of my favorite characters in the franchise, so pleased to pull that. We're gonna be right back with the other double Rs that we did not pull, so we can explain some of those And yeah, we'll just be right back with that before we finish off our video. Okay, guys, so we're back with the double R's. So my mistake, the 3-2 Miku that I thought was double R earlier, it was not a double R, and I completely forgot that we had already pulled the Miku Brainstorm that is the double R. So this is going to be the one double R for the virtual singers, and I did pull this out anyway so that we can talk about it before we get into our double R's. So the 3-2 Miku, so she's actually more played for just her on-play ability than for her climax combo. So the climax combo itself is on attack, you can mocha 2 for both players, so you get to look at the top 2 cards of both players' decks, and you can leave whatever you want, and then leave the rest on top in any order. But she's more played for on-play effect, where you can rest a character, and then you can force your opponent to shuffle all cards from their waiting room back into their deck, except for one climax of their choosing. So really nice decompression tool, and often played as a one-of in decks that can accommodate for the blue. Now, the rest of the double R's that we have pulled, so we did pull the Akito and the Kohane, we pulled the Nene, Kanade, and Mizuki, and we pulled the Miku. So we did not pull either double R from Leonid or More Jump, and then we didn't pull the Tsukasa. So let's go over each of those by group. So the Ichika combo is a level 1, 4/5. During your turn, she gets plus 2k power, and then she has 2 climax combos with the same climax. So one of them is an Honor versus Salvage, and the other one is when you play the climax, you can discard a card to summon a character from cost 0 character from your waiting room to the stage. So this allows you to summon additional copies of herself if you just don't have them in your hand, but they're in your waiting room, so you can resolve more combos within a single turn. This also allows you to do some pretty funny stuff with certain other cards in the set. So one of the strategies that I like to do is I like to combine the Ichika with the level 0 Kohane and An. So I will use the An as my brainstorm for my deck, and then I will use the Kohane, and when I play the climax, I will bounce the Kohane back to hand, free up the slot for the Ichika, kind of like you would in a standby deck, and then you can summon to that now empty slot while still giving +1 soul. Another thing that you can do with the Ichika is you can actually use her to summon out the level 1 Honami. So earlier in the video, I said the level 1 Honami, you can mark her if she's placed on stage from hand or from waiting room. And so the Ichika summoning her from waiting room to your back row would be how she could get her marker. And then from that point, she gives global 1k to all of your other characters and helps the Ichika to get those reverses for her climax combo. So there's a lot of innate synergy there. Unfortunately, not the most competitive combo, mostly on the virtue of requiring a reverse, so it can be easily played around. But still, she's my favorite character within Project Sekai, and so I have put a pretty good amount of time and effort into trying to design a deck around this combo. For our second Leonid double rare, we have the Saki early play healer. So this is a 2 or less climaxes early play healer, and then she also ignores color, fitting for the Leonid theme. And then she gets 1k for each of your other characters in the back row, allowing her to go up to 10-5, and then on play, discard 1 heal to stock. So pretty solid card. This is the most universally playable early play healer in the set, and so a lot of the times you will see her played alongside Mizuki as an early play suite. You can play both of these within the same deck and just go for double early play strats, things like that. For our more jump double Rs, first we have level 0 Irie. On play, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a level 1 or higher card, you add it to your hand and discard a card. And then when she is reversed, you can pay 1, discard a music character, and send her to memory to search your deck for a music character. And this is going to be the main way that you're going to get memory for those other units, such as Wonderlands and Nigo. For cards like the 3-2 Kanade, that requires 2 memory, or if you want to play in the deck that has the 3-2 Emu that requires 3 memory, then this is probably going to be the main way you're going to do that. The level 1 Minori is a 1-0 gold bar combo. She gains 1500 during your turn, and then on attack you can discard 1 to look at up to 4, add 2 characters. So sometimes you will actually see decks that want to go on the more just constant aggression game plan. They will just play the level 0 Irie combo alongside the level 1 Minori for an 8 gold bar deck, kind of similar to the gold bar choice style with the 2-1 Nene that we looked at earlier, but instead you're just playing a level 1 combo instead of the Nene. And so this gives you an easier time, just like constantly being able to slam whatever climax you get within the early turns of the game. Whereas in the gold bar choice variant, if you have a choice climax in your hand but you're still at level 1, you kind of have to like wait a little bit to use it. And then I think Tsukasa is our last double R that we haven't pulled. This is a 3/2 on play heal, and then on attack with choice you can pay to discard 1 if you have 2 or more other Wonder Show characters. You can pay cost to burn 1 twice and gain 3k until end of turn. So burn 1 twice is a combo that's been around for quite a while. It's like a pretty decent climax combo finisher, but the cost is kind of high at multiples where you have to pay 2 stock per copy of the Tsukasa. That can be a little bit hard to attain unless you're triggering like a lot of choice climaxes throughout your game. So yeah, that is going to sum it up for the colorful stage box opening. We did look at the high rarity cards a little bit earlier on in the video, so we're not really needing to do like a high rarity showcase at the end. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know down in the comment section below. And coming up on the channel, we will be doing it's going to be a little bit of a weird situation since we do have Licorice Recoil stuff at the same time, but our plan is to do a group specific deck overview so you guys can take a look at how you can improve or build on each of these individual groups' decks. And then we're going to be going into our gameplay block later on where we will be showcasing more of the mixed groups, more of the optimized stuff, if you guys are looking to play Pro Seka on a more competitive level. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, this has been Randall, aka Shizakats, on the Tressa Collectibles channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!